Hello, everyone. If you don't know me, my name is Joette Calabrese. You're looking pretty good. How are you? How are all of you? It's wonderful to see you all. I don't actually see you, but it feels like you're all here. So, if you're new here and you don't know me, I'm a homeopath for over 3 decades, a mom who raised her kids using only homeopathy, and I'm a homeopathic teacher. I'm your teacher. Love being your teacher. And so, if you already know me, welcome, friends. And for those who don't know me, my guess is that whoever is here, you're here because you're interested in knowing how to take care of your family and yourself and your pets and your livestock and your friends. And you may already be in love with homeopathy. But if you're not, I hope that I can instill it in you and that you're starting to fall in love. So either way, I'm here for you every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've been doing this for a little over 2 years now. And I teach you from my Materia Medica, which is what we're going to use again tonight, from my Materia Medica. And I offer little tidbits that you can save you a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of frustration and suffering. So this is for you folks. And this is not monetized. I'd like to be able to tell you that. I'm very proud of it. That means that I have that, to be honest, I'll tell you what it means. It means I run a very smooth organization. And we don't have a lot of fat around the edges, but we have a heck of a team. And everyone working together has allowed me to be able to make these kinds of presentations without monetizing, without selling you something. What I'm selling you only is, I hope, enthusiasm for homeopathy. So I want to make sure that you know that should you want more information, more quiet information without prying eyes, you might want to consider joining Joette's Mighty Members, and you simply go to joettesmightymembers.com. So, as I said, no prying eyes, and this way you can get information because it's on my own private server. I don't even share it with others. There's no one else that's on the server. So Joette's Mighty Members, and if you sign up for a year, you'll get a free book, a gift of my book on the history of homeopathy. Actually, I think now we've changed it. We're giving away something else right now. Should you decide to join us for a year? And as always, help me spread the word, folks. Okay, so to people who are of like mind, perhaps they're not even of like mind yet. They don't even realize what they don't know yet. So be sure to like and share this with as many people as you can, and allow others to gain this information. We need this to be a worldwide. It is a worldwide movement. It has been since the late 1700s, but we want it bigger and stronger. So, because, who do we trust in this world today? Do we trust the government? Are you kidding me? Do we trust big industry, like the big pharma? Do we trust them? Do we trust associations that seem philanthropic? Do we trust the education system? I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm going to have you just question it, because I know you already do anyway. There's nothing new here, because I know what you're about, folks. But what I suggest is that we learn to trust someone that we can pretty much count on besides our faith. I have trust in God. I have trust in Jesus. That's my faith. And I think many of you also have strong faith, whatever that may be. And I also trust in myself. I trust in a good mentor. My mentors have been great teachers. Dr. Ramakrishnan was a mentor for me for quite a while. And I had a friend who was a mentor of mine from the Netherlands. She helped me a great deal. And then, of course, there were the Banerjees. Talk about the mentors of all mentors. And so I have trusted them most implicitly, and I trust myself. Not that I have all the knowledge, but I trust that I can count on myself. Pretty much, I can count on myself. Then I trust my friends and my colleagues, and I urge you to start getting involved in study groups. My study group is a great one, Gateway to Homeopathy. If you haven't already joined, Gateway 1 and Gateway 2. And then you get to know others who are thinking like you, and they come up with questions and ideas that you hadn't thought of before. And so that's what I want you to do, is kind of step outside your comfort zone. People think they're not very good at homeopathy. Often there are those I know who've been doing very well. I see names here. Rachna we interviewed Rachna on my podcast. If you haven't heard Rachna's interview, you really ought to go there. You will love it. Rachna's a very unique person, and I hold her in very high regard. She's doing a lot of good work. And I see a lot of people here. I'm going to name them as they come along. I'll name them people that I know who have done very good work. I'm looking at some names right now. Excuse me. But my point is, we need each other. When you're sick, it's hard for you to think. I know when I'm sick, my brain turns to mush. And so I want you to know that you've got other people. And so you should, if you're joining study groups, if you've taken any of my courses, you certainly know the value of knowing other people and saying, help, anybody have any ideas? And you text it along. So it's a very exciting thing to be able to know who to trust, because in this world of untrustworthy authorities that have been collapsing in front of our very eyes, that are disintegrating, the 3-letter organizations and federally funded and federally regulated organizations, we have to start thinking twice about where we're getting our information. And so trust each other. Yes. Hi, Deanna. Nice to see you. Hi, Paulette and Katie. And, I was just in, who was it said hello from Ohio? I was just in Ohio yesterday. I actually went to the first professional baseball game since I'm really going to date myself now. The last professional baseball game I ever went to was in 1962. Yes, folks, 1962. And my husband and I went to go see, we were in Cleveland for other reasons, and we went to go see a Cleveland Indians game, and it was a blast. I can't believe how much fun I had. We went with a whole group of people, and I got to tell you, it was beyond fun. The Star-Spangled Banner, there we were, all holding our hands to our hearts. There was the 7th inning stretch, I think it's called, Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And then, of course, our team won, and I ate popcorn and everything I normally don't eat. It was really, really fun. I could be persuaded to go to another professional baseball game. I mean, I used to play baseball when I was a kid, but Monica says, Rachna rocks. Rachna, are you seeing that? You are my mentor, she says. And somebody else says, Rachna rocks. It's fabulous. It's wonderful to see everyone. Where is Rachna's interview? It's on my podcast. It was about 3, 4, maybe a month ago. Rachna, if you have got the date, put it in there for us, please. One of my latest podcasts, maybe about a month or a little less than that ago. Really, really great. Baseball does rock, Melinda. I mean, excuse me for being so, I don't know, chatty here tonight, but I haven't had that much fun in a long time. Maybe it was because 1962 was a wonderful year, says Leanne. And so does Carmen. The food is the best. Oh my God. It was so much darn fun. Okay. Rachna says it's podcast number 111. So, all right. Let's talk about some stuff. And I'm going to tell my mighties, I've got something I have to tell them that I want to emphasize. So I'm going to speak to everyone tonight, and then we're going to break off. I don't know if I can do that. I'm really not very good at this, but I'm going to break off because I'm sorry, Facebook Livers, but there's certain things, as you well know, I don't have to tell you what happens with Facebook Live and how I have to be so ridiculously careful. But tonight we're going to go through my Materia Medica, and we're going to talk about a very pertinent medicine, so that that is very valuable for today's concerns. Okay. And it is all about female hemorrhaging. So there are a number of medicines that we can use, but the one that I find to be, generally speaking, the most valuable protocol is the one that the Banerjees taught me. And it is Sabina 6 and Arnica 3. And Nathalie, I call her Nathalie. It's really Natalie because I know the H is silent, but I can't help myself but put that TH in there. Nathalie's not with us tonight. She'll be back next week. But meanwhile, my husband Perry is going to be writing it up so that you can see it. And we'll say that it's from me, but it's not really from me. It's really from Perry. All righty. So it's Sabina 6. Okay, so let me read a little bit about Sabina because you need to know about it. For those of you who are not familiar with this medicine, it is a very important one. And now I'm going to read this from my Materia Medica. And the first line is the most important. Sabina is often associated with problems of the reproductive organs. Got that? You know why that's important? I think you understand, right? I'm not going to go any further than that. I think everyone understands what I'm talking about. Okay. And women, because of what's occurring these days or potentially occurring, what's being reported, let's put it that way. In women, I wrote in my Materia Medica, this remedy is used to prevent miscarriage or for hemorrhage after miscarriage, delivery, or fibroids. Now, I don't want you to think that you're going to take this to prevent a miscarriage just to be safe. What the heck? We'll just do it. No. These are medicines, and it's very unusual. I mean, we do use homeopathy prophylactically, but I would not encourage someone to use Sabina just because. But if someone has the potential for or has had a great deal of history, and there is also hemorrhaging of any sort, even before the pregnancy, then I might consider it. So this is not the only medicine we use. I might consider Sabina. Other symptoms aided by Sabina include heavy menstrual periods with excessive bright menses and or clots, uterine pains extending into the thighs, corrosive or offensive discharge of blood between periods, or after menopause. Hello, right? You know what I'm saying, right, folks? Retained placenta, inflammation of ovaries and uterus after an abortion. Now, by abortion, that can mean miscarriage, but I would hope that we could keep those abortions not even at bay. Pain from the sacrum to the pubis and shooting into the vaginal area and lack of tone in the uterus. Now, when I get questions from folks saying, but I don't have retained placenta and I don't have inflammation of the ovaries. I only have inflammation of the uterus. You do not need all of these for Sabina to be the medicine of choice. That's the way it is in homeopathy in general. And I want you to remember that. Just because you don't have every symptom doesn't mean you don't have the ability to use this medicine, okay? When utilized as an aid for menstrual problems, its characteristics are profuse bleeding of bright red color and pains that extend to the thighs. The heavy bleeding will typically last an extraordinarily long time, and sometimes throughout the entire menstrual cycle. In men, Sabina is used for inflammation that's from gonorrhea, where there is a discharge. Now, that generally doesn't happen very often. And what I mean by that is the moment a man would have, or anyone would have gonorrhea, long before they even know what it is, they would have gone to the doctor and gotten an antibiotic. But in other parts of the world, that's not necessarily so. Okay, in both sexes, Sabina is associated with increased sexual desire as well. You don't need increased sexual desire for this medicine to act. I want you to remember these. If there is an increased sexual desire and there is flooding or any of these others that I've considered, then we've got 2 legs to stand on. If we can possibly get 3 legs, then we've got probably a good choice. The action of Sabina on serous and fibrous membranes also makes it useful for gout and arthritic pains in the joints. It is also used for constipation and bloody urine, burning, throbbing in the kidney area, inflammation of the bladder and urethra. Now, you see how fascinating this is? Someone asked me recently, how is it that these medicines know how to act in this area, such as the ovaries and uterus, as well as this area in men's reproductive, as well as the urethra, because that's what these medicines do. They have a very blanketing ability. And if someone happens also to have fibrous membranes in other areas, such as and have gout or arthritic problems, and they have these menstrual issues. Lo and behold, there we go. There's a two-legged stool, right? All we need is one more. Let's say that it's heavy flooding. Okay, now we got a three-legged stool. Okay, so the person needing Sabina is made restless and nervous when listening to music and may feel sad and weepy. I'm giving you a psychological aspect because it is interesting, but I'm not going to tell you that this is that important. It's very classical to look at the psychology of all of these medicines, and I find that is generally not what we're looking for. Now, you can use classical till the cows come home. What you really need is what is at hand. What is the important aspect? What's the hierarchy of the case? The hierarchy of the case is, for example, there is menstrual bleeding that is irregular, or the period is irregular, or there's menstrual breakthrough between the periods, or it's a postmenopausal woman who is bleeding, or there is a menstrual condition that is unrelated to this person hitherto. But now, at this juncture in time, this is what's happening. That's good enough. But I do continue and tell you a little bit more. Listening to music. Okay, she often is she. Sometimes it's a man, but she often craves sour, juicy foods and drinks, and symptoms become worse from even the slightest motion and from heat and warm air. The person feels better in cool, fresh air. Sabina is primarily used as a remedy for menstrual difficulties and miscarriage and should be considered in a low potency here it is. This is what you're waiting for, right? Every few hours during dysmenorrhea, along with arnica montana. This is a Banerjee protocol that has served my clients, my students, and me very well. The Sabina patient is prone to itchy warts, blackheads, and often has black and blue shadows under and around her eyes. And during an aggravation, the individual feels hypochondriacal and depressed. Unnecessary. All of those are unnecessary. But if they happen to be there and they present, of course, we're going to take advantage of that and use that information, right? Okay, homeopathy is elegant. You got that right, Leanne. It was very rough. I had a trip. Okay, I guess people are talking about trips. All righty, Katie, amazing. That's wonderful. Kathy or Katie. Okay. Yes. Okay, welcome, Dee. Let's see if we've got some questions. If we're working on a course, may we work on Gateway at the same time or another course? Yes, you certainly may. Absolutely. It will just flesh out your understanding. Let's see if I can find some questions from Facebook. I'm not finding them. Let's just see here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to open this up, and then we're going to close this down, and let's see what we come up with here. Here they are. Okay. All right. Let's see. I was recommended belladonna for blood clots during menstruation. What do you think? Yeah, belladonna could certainly be a very good medicine for blood clots. Yes, I'd think of this most frequently. Belladonna is a good choice as well. Take it in conjunction with each other. I would assume you bet absolutely. Mixed together or separate? Mixed together, my friends. Now, if you don't buy it mixed together from OHM, for example, if you're a student or a client of mine, you can buy directly from OHM Pharmacy. But if you can't and you don't, then you can just put the arnica in your mouth or the Sabina in your mouth, and then put the arnica in your mouth and suck on them simultaneously. What about random spotting after menopause? Generally speaking, if that certainly Sabina and arnica could certainly be useful for that. It's not the only one, but definitely it is something that can be used for that. Sabina, phosphorus. Yes, phosphorus is good too. I love phosphorus. That's not my first choice. Unless there's something very obvious about phosphorus. Unless it's very obvious. Rats, I just bought Sabina 30C. Well, look, let me tell you this. Sabina 30C can be useful too. It's not a protocol. It's not part of the protocol. And I always say, go with the protocol if you can. But you might find the 30C will work as well. Let's see what else we've got. Perry is going to be writing out the exact protocol with the potencies, right, Perry? I think maybe he's done it. It won't say Perry. I think it'll say Joette. Sabina or Trillium, how do you know? Well, I'll tell you how I know. I start with Sabina because it's just a first line protocol. But Trillium's a very good choice as well. I would go with if there's hemorrhaging, I would go with Sabina first. That's a beautiful combination for our family of girls. You bet, says Christy. Hi, Christy. Nice to see you. Another person who's doing really good work. See, I don't know all of you, but those of you who I know, I can't tell you how touched I am by your abilities, your commitment to this. Hi, Elaine. Elaine Whalen, another one who does good work. It's good stuff. I'm seeing some wonderful people in this. Let's see my mighties. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, it is 8:22. Helped so much during my miscarriages. Sabina did. Yes, you bet, Katie. I'm glad to hear that. What about issues with infertility? I'm not going to talk about that tonight, but boy, you've got a point. It is a very valid point to be talking about. I talk about it in great detail in my course, Feminopathy. Now, let me say, I don't want you just because we talk about these medicines. Excuse me, just because I've said that doesn't mean you can't learn it without taking the entire course. But there are other aspects when it comes to infertility. There are a couple of different ones, and you might want to be able to differentiate between the two. Yes, it's Sabina 6X and Arnica 3X. I hope you've got that. Thanks, Perry, for the okay. And Perry also wrote it on his own name. Okay, what about thickening of the uterus lining? A little different. Thickening is certainly a concern if there is a pathology associated with it. All righty. It is now 8:23 p.m. And there are medicines for lichen sclerosis. And yes, that's a disheartening condition. And I do cover that very thoroughly in Feminopathy. All righty. I am going to say goodbye to Facebook, and because I want to talk to my mighties alone, so you please accept end the event.
No.
Yeah, event setup. Okay, because I'm sorry, Facebook folks, if you are mighties, please go there. Okay, so you want me to click here?
No.